Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel. For a while now I've been wanting to revamp the rogue guides that I originally started the channel with and give you a bit more updated information as I've learned more about the game and as the game has adapted. So this video marks the start of the complete rogue guide series where I go over everything you need to know about the different rogues in this game. I'll be going over everything from the very basics to the weapons to the priority of upgrades that you should be looking to get to some different strategies that you might want to implement with these rogues. And to kick it all off, we're going to be starting with Anvil, so if you do enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But for now, let's get into it. Anvil is designed around a very defensive playstyle, being able to hold down one position really well with his different abilities, with his different gadgets, and being able to really lock down an area. He's great at blocking off different routes along the map, stopping enemy breaches, and holding down a line of sight by putting lead down range. Despite him being labelled as a defender, he is not just limited to this playstyle, and we will explore that as this guide continues. Starting now though with his passive and ability. His passive is immunity, which allows him to not be affected by certain crowd control effects, namely a flash grenade and the disorient effect from a gas grenade. This can be really useful if you are pinned down in a position the enemy are trying to breach you. You are not affected by these normally good breaching tools that they might try and use. His ability will also help him with this, and this is barricade. Using this ability puts a shield down in front of you that can tank up a lot of damage. It cannot be shot through and you cannot shoot through it, although over time enough damage will cause it to break. You can though reactivate the ability or shoot the little yellow cylinder behind it to pop open the glass window and be able to shoot from it that way. This wall has a lot of good placement options. You can use it to defend yourself and offer a little bit of cover so that you can shoot from a different angle. It can block off a complete access route for the enemies to mean they have to funnel down a different way, or it can simply be used just to guard the bomb on a plant or defuse so you can't be shot while you're trying to access the objective. We'll talk a little bit more about the ability and how it can be used as we go through the guide. Looking at Anvil's weapons, his two primary weapons are the arbitrator shotgun, which is a deadly one-shot shotgun to the chest at close range. This is the only weapon that will do a single shot body shot, although it is a two-pump shotgun, so you only get 2 rounds before you then have to reload. As you upgrade this throughout the rounds, at tier 1 you gain increased reload speed, at tier 2 increased hipfire accuracy and reduce the reticle bloom, and then at tier 3 you increase the damage range. The MLX Moore is a deadly LMG that he can purchase, which has a lot of bullets, a very fast fire rate, which accumulates in a very short time to kill if you're able to hit your shots. This is generally the weapon of choice for most Anvils, and as you upgrade it in tier 1, you increase the magazine size from 60 to 90 and increase your movement speed while using it. At tier 2, you increase its damage range, and at tier 3, you'll reduce that recoil and reticle bloom. Going on to his secondary weapons, you have the Executioner pistol, which is the most common pistol in the game. It's very good, very accurate, and can really hurt people at those longer ranges and compete with some ARs if you're able to hit those shots accurately. As you upgrade this weapon, you increase its magazine size from 12 to 16, and then at tier 2 you increase its hipfire accuracy while reducing its recoil. The baseball bat is his other secondary weapon. This one you have to purchase. This is his melee option. It's a very, very good weapon, mainly designed around swinging rather than throwing, although it will still one-shot kill someone when thrown if they have 100 health. As you upgrade this, you will increase its lunge distance and you will increase its swing damage at tier 2. Going on to his gadgets, which really complement his kit, he firstly has the C4, which is your standard plastic explosive that you can throw and detonate once it's touched the ground or a surface. It will stick to surfaces and will not detonate until you actually use the remote control. As you upgrade it, you increase its throw distance and then you increase its damage itself from 130 to 150. This will be able to one-shot someone through tenacity if they're on the closest range. His second gadget, which offers a more defensive route, is the active protection system, which basically acts as a trophy. This will negate one projectile thrown at it, including grenades, flash grenades, swords, ballistic knives from Ronin, or any projectile that can be thrown. As you upgrade it, you increase its durability and detection radius at tier 1, and then you can hold a second one at tier 2. Going over his perks, at the 4,000 mark he has Shredder Rounds and Berserker, at 6,500 he has Tenacity and Helping Hands, and at 10,000 he has Headstrong and Life Drain. These perks complement his kit quite well, giving him a more defensive, tanky and supportive role within the team. Helping Hands those quick revives, Tenacity so that he can survive a little bit longer against grenades, same with Headstrong, and then Life Drain if he does get into a situation he needs to heal quickly. That's the brief overview of his kit, and I want to show you the priority upgrades that I would say I recommend for you. What you'll see now in front of you is the upgrade priority. I split it into 3 categories. There's the high priority, which are things you must buy as soon as possible. The interchangeable, which is the upgrades that you want to be buying, but you may switch around with them depending on what the situation calls for. And then you have your low priority and situational items, which you should almost never get unless you really need it for a very particular reason. I have also, next to it on the left-hand column, showed you the round that you're most likely to buy these in due to the amount of cash flow that you're likely to get within the game. This is done by taking a general average of the games that you'll play. Some important things to note is that you want to be grabbing some form of utility off the bat in round 1, whether it be a C4 or a trophy system, that depends on the situation. You then want to be going for your MLX more the LMG as soon as possible. I would recommend this over the shotgun as it's just generally a bit more consistent. You then, by the end of like round 2 or 3, should have tenacity and your other piece of equipment, and that will set you up with your basic core to then go into those later rounds. From there, it's up to you whether you want to upgrade the C4 first or upgrade your weapon, and then you want to be looking at getting the 10,000 perks as well, if possible. I put the baseball bat in here as an optional because if you're comfortable using them, they can be really good, as I've spoke about in some other videos, but they're not core to the kit. They're just something that if you're comfortable with them, can really help you clutch out some rounds. So when it comes to actually playing Anvil, you're going to be looking for a few different opportunities in your game. Your first one is going to be looking for an opportunity to place your wall down. Now, there are different options where you can use this. You can use it to block off a line of sight or a different access route for the enemies. So if you know that one site can be has a really narrow corridor that you don't want the enemies trying to funnel through, you can place your wall down there and completely block it off. The chances are they're not going to spend the time to sit there and shoot it, and unless they have a glitch to hack it, that wall isn't coming down and you've blocked off that line of sight. This can really help protect your flank and help you just funnel them through one particular area so that your team can then team shoot them from there. Your other different options of placing the wall is you can use it somewhere where you want to hold sight. So if there's a really big open space and you want to sort of sit somewhere in there because it's got some great vantage points, but know there's not a lot of cover, well then you can place your wall down, pop the barricade, pop the window open, sit behind it, and then you have a piece of cover that you can use to stop the enemies from. This is actually less common nowadays than it used to be, to place it in some sort of random position to gain a good line of sight, as there is quite a good amount of cover options within the game, and generally it's used more for a blocking of route thing like I spoke about at the start. But then there is another circumstance where your wall can be really useful, and this is more tactical and a bit more risky. This is where Anvil can sort of bridge between attack and defense by using this kind of mechanic carefully. You can use the wall to push onto a site, place the wall down, and plant the bomb behind it. This gives you a lot more options about where you can plant the bomb and where you can retreat to watch it. You see a lot of good teams do this. They'll find a spot that is normally really hard to plant the bomb in, but would give them a good vantage if they could get it down there. So what they'll do is they'll rush onto the site, ignore the enemy, usually use some smokes to cover it, place down the wall, and then start planting the bomb behind it. Once you've done this, you can then peel off of the bomb site and then hold down that line of sight. Using the wall in this way can be really disruptive to the team that you're against, mostly because they're not expecting you to block off this line of sight. A lot of teams go in with a strategy and a game plan and map knowledge of, oh, there's no cover here, so they're not going to plant the bomb straight here in the middle. But with Anvil Wall, this really disrupts how you can do this. But you can also do this on the flip, which is where the enemy team have planted the bomb and they've retreated somewhere to guard it. If you can get on site and use your team as distraction tools, you can run up to the bomb, place your wall down where they're watching it, and use a bit of cover there to start the defuse. Teams will not be able to break that wall down quick enough before you defuse it, and so that really gives you a great advantage. The only way is if they start nade spamming you, which you have to be careful for, but with the trophy systems, you'll be pretty good and set to give that a go. Other different playstyle tips I have for you with Anvil is that you want to be using your weapon, your maul, just as a fantastic suppressing fire option. It's great at putting lead down range, it's great at suppressing the enemies from moving into a position, or at the very least, if they do decide that they're going to challenge you while you're pre-shooting the corner, they're going to die from it because you're pre-shooting the corner, they're going to walk into your bullets, and a lot of people are not using this accurately. Something else I want you to be very in mind of is that you want both gadgets. I did mention it when I was going about the upgrade priority, but I want to stress why. And that is because the C4 is a fantastic and deadly piece of equipment that can blast through tenacity, which is actually the only piece of gadget that can blast through tenacity other than Demonade if they hit it, but that's very rare. So you want to be picking up that C4 and upgrading it as soon as possible because it is really useful despite the nerfs. You also want to be getting the active protection unit to stop the breach. There's a lot of utility used within this game, and the active protection unit is great at just stopping that and slowing it down. You want to be in one, and if you really need it, upgrade it fully so you can get two of them. My final remarks regarding Anvil is to not be confused at thinking he's super one-dimensional. This is something I fell into the trap of a lot when I first started the game. He's just there to place a wall down, hide behind it, and shoot you. Anvil has a lot more adaptability than people think, and you can be really disrupted by an Anvil. More than anything, he's annoying. His wall, his placement, his positioning can be really annoying, and there is a massive gap between your standard anvil who are going to do one play and stick with it, and your very adaptable good anvils who are going to be using their war at the right times, not wasting it straight off the bat, or using it to block off an angle that you're most likely to go to. They're going to be reading your team, reading the situation, and thinking about where the best place for that wall is. That's what's going to separate the good and the great anvils. Okay then guys, that's going to take us to the end of the video. If you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. There will be guides for every single robe coming up in the next few weeks. If you want to come see me live, then go check me out on twitch.tv/Radthar Gaming. You'll see gameplays, Q&As, guides, and also tournaments, which I'll be participating in. All the links you're going to need for that are down in the description below. But for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video. Wow.